everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the English Pro Podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Emma. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest struggles English learners face: how to master everyday conversations without memorizing scripts, textbook phrases, or robotic dialogues.
Yeah, no one wants to sound like a robot. Hello, how are you? I am fine, thank you. That might work for a school test, but in the real world, it's just not how people talk.
Exactly. We want to help you speak naturally, like a real human, even when you don't have every word memorized. So grab your coffee or take us on your walk, because we've got a lot to talk about today.
Let's be honest. Memorizing phrases might make you feel safe, but when you're in a real conversation, things go off script fast.
Totally. You might prepare something like, "Can I have a coffee, please?" But what if they say, "Sure, would you like room for cream?" and you freeze? That's what happens when you rely too much on memorization.
Memorization doesn't build flexibility. You're learning words, not communication. And that's the key difference. Language is alive and it moves, it changes, and people speak differently depending on their mood, their culture, or even their job.
Right. So what should you be doing instead? We'll get into that in this episode. Natural habits, small mindset shifts, and tricks to sound fluent without stuffing your brain with scripts. Here's the first fluency secret. Conversations aren't random. They follow patterns. Once you recognize those patterns, you can jump into almost any chat without memorizing anything.
Think of it like this. When someone says, "How's it going?" you know they're just being friendly. You don't need a fancy answer. You can say, "Good." You or "not bad."
These are conversation templates, like frameworks. And the more patterns you learn, the more confident you become, even if you don't know every word.
And it's not just greetings. Think about how people order food, ask for help, or give opinions. It's all predictable. Learn the flow, not the script. Let's talk about chunking. This is a game changer.
Yes, chunking means learning phrases or expressions as a whole, not word by word. For example, instead of learning I, don't, know separately, you learn the chunk I don't know as one sound, one idea.
It's like music. You don't memorize every single note. You remember how the melody flows. Let me think. You know what I mean? Those are all chunks.
And they make you sound way more natural. Native speakers use chunks all the time. Kind of, a bunch of, no worries. You hear these everywhere.
Practice repeating chunks from shows, movies, or YouTube videos. Don't analyze every word. Just copy the whole phrase like a parrot. You'll start sounding fluent without even trying.
So many people think speaking more makes you fluent. But actually, listening is where fluency begins.
Yes. If you listen actively, not just hearing, but paying attention to how people speak, you'll pick up real-life English so much faster.
Listen for how people pause, which words they emphasize, or how they connect words. For example, "What are you doing?" sounds like "what you doing" in real speech.
Exactly. You won't learn that from a textbook. But if you train your ears with podcasts, TV shows, or real conversations, your brain will start copying those patterns naturally.
Fluency starts with your ears, not your memory.
Here's a cool idea. Create your own English world around topics you actually care about.
Yeah, if you love fashion, listen to fashion podcasts in English. If you like sports, follow English-speaking athletes. Your brain learns faster when it's interested.
And you'll start learning the specific language people use in those situations. So if you're into cooking, you'll pick up words like chop, simmer, season, and hear how people actually use them.
It makes English feel real, not academic. And you won't need to memorize because you'll just be absorbing the language from your favorite things. Here's something that might scare you, but it's essential. Speak before you feel ready.
Oof, that's hard, right? But seriously, waiting until you know enough is a trap. You'll never feel ready. Ever.
Fluency comes from doing, not preparing. It's like learning to ride a bike. You don't wait until you've read 5 books on balance. You just get on, wobble, and figure it out.
Exactly. When you speak, even if it's messy or slow, your brain starts wiring itself to handle real-time communication. That's something memorization can't give you.
So start small. Talk to yourself. Order food in English. Leave voice messages on language apps. Just get those words out of your head and into the world.
Here's something we say all the time. Mistakes are proof that you're learning.
Yes, but silence? That's the real enemy. If you're silent, you're not practicing. If you're making mistakes, you're growing.
Native speakers mess up too. They say, and even correct themselves mid-sentence.
So instead of freezing up when you're not sure, say something. Even if it's, how do you say? That's still communication.
People respect the effort. They're not judging your grammar. They're just happy you're trying. And every time you try, you get closer to fluency.
Here's a big shift. Most learners understand way more English than they can use. That's called passive vocabulary. Words you recognize but don't use.
Right. You see ridiculous in a show and you know what it means. But when it's your turn to speak, it disappears.
To make it active, you need to use it. That means saying it out loud, writing it in a journal, or using it in a made-up sentence.
Even something like, that movie was ridiculous. I can't believe it. Use it a few times and boom, it's yours.
Don't just read words, play with them. Roll them around in your mouth. Make them part of your life.
This one's huge. Stop rehearsing, start responding.
Yes, real conversations aren't monologues. They're unpredictable. You have to react, not perform.
So practice responding. Watch interviews and pause them. Imagine what you would say next. Hey, what do you think about that? What's your answer?
It trains your brain to react naturally. You stop thinking in full scripts and start thinking in ideas.
And that's fluency. Expressing an idea even if it's not perfect.
A great trick for sounding fluent: use fillers. Native speakers do it all the time.
Yeah, stuff like, actually, I mean, you know, so.
These give you time to think and keep the conversation flowing. Even a pause like, is totally okay.
And when you use fillers, you sound more natural, not less. It shows rhythm and real-world speech.
Try practicing with fillers. Well, I think, it's kind of tricky. It's way better than silence or panicking.
Many people ask us, how do I practice speaking if I have no one to talk to?
Good news. You can practice speaking on your own. It's called shadowing or self-talk.
Shadowing means repeating what someone says right after they say it. Watch a YouTube video, pause after a sentence, and copy it exactly. Tone, speed, everything.
Self-talk is another one. Describe what you're doing in English. Okay, I'm opening the fridge. No milk. Maybe I'll make tea.
You sound silly, but it works. You're training your brain to think and speak in English, not just translate.
And the more you do this, the more your fluency grows without needing a conversation partner. Here's a super fun exercise. Play the question game with yourself.
Yup. Ask yourself one question and answer it. Then ask a follow-up, like, what did you eat today? I had eggs and toast. Why did you eat that? Because I was in a hurry.
This builds flow. You start speaking in real sentences, not just memorized lines.
It's how kids learn too. They ask why a million times, and it works.
So go ahead. Ask yourself weird, funny, serious questions in English. Keep the conversation going, even if it's just you.
Here's something most learners forget. Your mouth needs practice too. Speaking English is physical. Your lips, tongue, and jaw, they're doing new things.
Right. It's like going to the gym. If you only go once a week, you won't get stronger. But a little every day, huge difference.
So warm up your English muscles. Try tongue twisters, read aloud from a book, or repeat phrases from shows.
Even 5 minutes a day of speaking out loud helps. You're building speed, clarity, and confidence.
And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Focus on moving your mouth and getting sounds out, even if they're a bit off.
You're not just training your brain, you're training your voice. And fluency means feeling comfortable using it. Let's talk about this. Textbooks are great for basics, but real English, it comes from real life.
Totally. Textbooks give you, may I use the restroom? But nobody says that in real life. We say, hey, where's the bathroom? Or, I gotta pee.
If you want to understand real conversations, you've got to listen to real people, not actors reading a script.
Watch YouTubers, listen to podcasts, and hear how friends talk. That's the language you'll use.
Even reality shows or vlogs are gold for this. You'll hear slang, casual phrases, filler words, everything you need for everyday fluency.
And the best part? You start to feel what sounds natural without memorizing it. Let's introduce one of my favorite ideas, micro-conversations.
Ooh, yes. These are short everyday exchanges you hear all the time, like, hey, how's it going? Good, you? Not bad, thanks.
Tiny conversations like that are everywhere. At the store, on the phone, at work.
So practice them. Pick 5 micro conversations and say them every day until they're automatic.
You'll be shocked how often they come up. And when they do, you'll respond without thinking.
It's like training muscle memory. Once it's in your mouth, it's yours.
Start with greetings, small talk, and polite responses. That's the foundation of everyday English.
Let's wrap it up with something powerful. Confidence doesn't come before speaking, it comes after.
Yes, people wait to feel confident before they speak, but it's the other way around.
The more you speak, the more your brain goes, hey, I can do this. And that confidence builds.
So we call this the confidence loop. Speak, feel good. Speak more, feel better.
Even small wins count. Do you ask a stranger for directions in English? Boom, win. You order coffee without freezing? Another win.
Stack those wins. Over time, you go from scared to smooth, naturally.
And remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be brave. That's where fluency begins.
So if you're listening right now thinking, can I master conversations without memorizing? The answer is yes.
You already have the tools. You just need to speak, respond, make mistakes, laugh, and keep going.
This is real talk, real fluency, real confidence.
And we're here for you every step of the way.
Thanks for listening to the English Pro Podcast. See you next time.